Everybody, let's go ahead and get started. We've got a great program today, and as a reminder, please silence your cell phones. Fines are happy as it goes off, just remember that. Also a reminder, we have a healthy population on Zoom today, and rain is not an excuse for not doing an in-person meeting. All right. For guests and visitors, my name is Steve Perley, club president, and I'd like to welcome you all to the 22nd meeting of the 48th year of the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club. Today's invocation and pledge of allegiance will be offered by Jerry.
Standing in for Dr. Norris. He's not coming in, so he can. By whatever name we pray to a loving God, awaken in us all the freshness of new life as we begin this new year, and give us wisdom to make differences of opinion or background just occasions for learning. Tear down the walls that isolate us, make strong the ties that bind us, and help us to walk together, always rejoicing in all your ways. Use this, our Rotary Club, to bring to our community and to our world all things that are beneficial to all concerned. To this, our prayer, we all say gratefully, Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know what the people at stadiums feel like when the feedback.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Teresa, do we have any guests or visiting representatives?
Brendan's going to make introductions for us.
Okay. Later on, that program? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, later on.
Right, then we got our sergeant, Mr. Kankari. Make it good. Start us off with a bang.
I'll try. Get lots of money.
Need a volunteer to carry the pot.
I'll do that.
Anybody close to the
I'll
pot?
do that.
You're closest. Right here. Start with our traditional happy dollars to start the new year. Who's got happy bucks?
Now, let me give two of them since I can have it in a convenient $2 note here. That's the two things. One is that my wife and I just completed a lovely vacation at the end of December. And one of the highlights of it, we visited a lot of historic places, was we actually attended a recreation of the meal, not of the events, but of the meal. That was served at famous Jefferson dinner in 1790 between Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton, where we worked out one of the great early political compromises of the country, where they moved the capital to Washington, D.C., and the federal government agreed to assume that the Revolutionary War debts of the states. So keep that in mind today when we look at today's political events. You know, there is a way to work things out. There are certainly serious divisions there, and we managed to work that one out. I'm sure. And it seems to me there were bigger disagreements than there are now, and we ought to be able to work these out too. And the second happy dollar is because the 25th of this month, my wife and I will be celebrating our 50th anniversary. So, thank you.
Congratulations. Who else has happy dollars? Barry.
I have $2, one for Delta Airlines, who got me to where I was going in the same day. What's your baggage? Yes. But they broke it, so they're replacing it. Supposed to go. And also that I got to see my twins who were supposed to live and they are 18 years old now.
Wow. 18 years old and probably enjoying their first beer, even though their mother and grandmother probably don't know that.
Well, in Europe, you can drink at 16, and that's where he's been racing his car. So yes, he knows all about it.
What a great reason to travel to Europe. Funny you brought that up. We just heard a story at our table about luggage not showing up, and I told the others at the table, my only experience with that happened in Rome, Italy. 3 days without luggage. Rome, Italy has no big and tall stores.
So you want the same thing every.
I didn't have many options, put it that way, without going into more detail. Other happy dollars, anybody?
I'm very glad that Jerry took my place today. I'm sorry I was late. Thank you, Jerry.
Where's the money?
Yeah, dig into your pocket, please. You missed it. Speaking of Jerry, you got one?
I do,
Happy dollars?
I do. You guys have seen my niece, heard my niece speak. She's the F-18 pilot in the Navy. She just got the award of the equivalent to Top Gun school. She's gonna go to the testing portion of that because it gives her more latitude for an exit strategy with working with Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing. And she'll be a test pilot for them for the next 3 years starting in May.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Make it to that level.
That's
You
impressive.
want to be careful about using exit strategy when you talk about testing.
Yeah. Any others? Any other happy dollars? Did anybody else wake up Sunday and think it's 2023?
Yeah.
Where the hell did the last 20 some years go? Do you remember back 23 years ago when we thought all of our computers were going to crash on New Year's Eve? And speaking of differences between 2000 and 2023, got some financial questions to ask you. I need a volunteer to answer these questions, and it affects everybody, so the pressure's on. Within $5,000, what was the average cost of a new home in America in the year 2000? Who wants to take a shot at it?
95,000.
Dig in, people. $134,000. Still not very much.
No.
Within a dime. What was the cost? Who wants to take this one? What was the cost of a gallon of gas in the year 2000?
We should let Court take that because he's all into dimes.
Within a dime.
Steve's got it.
Oh, wait.
That was like 1976.
98 cents. 98 cents.
$1.26. Dig in. Maximum fine is $3. We're getting there. Last one. Within $1,000. Average cost of a new car in the year 2000. Average cost.
22,000.
That's not bad, but you're not within 1,000. $24,750.
Okay.
Cost people a lot of money. And finally, four-way test, let's be honest. If you've ever laughed at a Jerry Katz joke, throw in $1 right now. Have a good week.
Nobody.
If you've ever grown.
Yeah. That's what.
Thank you very much, Cal.
Now you want some?
All right. Announcements. New year, new things. Who's got announcements?
Are you doing it?
Whoever gets here first, right?
Ladies first.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Just a reminder that our club will once again be hosting the youth exchange students in the weekend of January 21st. We are looking for volunteers to chaperone at Coastside. We're looking for dinner hosts and we'll need help with breakfast the following Sunday morning. So if you are interested or available, there is a sign-up sheet. Did you set it up?
Not yet.
Okay, we will be sending it out. Emily Biondo, who is a new member, is chairing our youth exchange, so she will be sending it out, or Steve, this week. So please, please, please sign up, because we have students that we need to make sure are taken care of. Thank you all. What day did you say it was? 21st.
It's a Saturday.
I'm standing in front of you as your treasurer. So this announcement comes from your treasurer. First of all, I know you always are waiting with bated breath for your invoice, which normally comes about the 15th of January. This month, one exception, not to be construed as a new policy, but we will not be billing you until near the end of January. There's several changes that are coming to your invoice. One, we have a bowling event that's coming up. You may want to have your team monies on your invoice. And so we're allowing some more time for you to sign up, send in the team, etc., and have it on your invoice. Second big change is your board authorized an increase in the optional contributions to RI Foundation and our club foundation. The option before was $25 twice a year for a total of $50. That is doubled. You're going to have the option to donate $50 each time, twice a year, for $100. The third change is this. The district has sponsored the 125 Club for several years now. Many of you have joined that club, and many of you have asked that it be on your invoice. So it will be on your invoice this time in January. This is the only time that you can have it on your invoice. We will not accept requests for the 125 Club on your invoice other than in January, and that will be permanent. Now, the reason for that is simply this. The district has the program. They really don't have any good way to administer it. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth. There's a lot of trouble. We send it, names in, you don't hear anything, then somebody shows up, they've got about half the pins and a third of the names. So one time a year, you can do this, but please do not ask us to do it in the future, because we're not going to. In the newsletter that just came from Price today, at least mine came today, you can see how to do that online, and that will be what you'll have to do if you want to join that club and not have it on your invoice. So that's the treasurer's decision. You can impeach me if you'd like and do away with all this nonsense. But the board did approve of that being on the invoice, and so that's what we're going to do. So appreciate all your help and appreciate your paying on time. Thank you.
Jerry, the doubling of the fees, does that not get us the 100% participation?
Is that
The doubling of the RI, wasn't there the reason to do that, to give us the 100% club participation option?
Yeah. Our president's always on it. One reason for actually doubling the optional contribution to RI was was, as you know, if you've read anything at all, in the magazines or any place, RI would like to have us $100 every member every year. And so that's what we're doing. We're gonna try to obtain 100%, be 100% club. And so if so moves you, if that's in your benevolent giving, then please take advantage of it. Personally, I can tell you, I think the RI Foundation is about as well run as any charity that you could contribute to. They really they got it down. They do good works clear around the world, and I think it works. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Mr. Treasurer. Last announcement I have is just Super Bowl in general. So right now we have 3 teams and 3 table sponsors. Obviously, we're looking to get 30 teams and 30 sponsors, and we're about inside of a month. So we need to start promoting this pretty heavily. Yeah. Teresa, was there anything else to add?
The cost for the bowlers, each bowler is $45. It includes your bowling, your shoes, and a free lunch. There's a 50-50 raffle. I'm looking here quickly. Does anybody know the cost of the table sponsor?
$100.
There we go. Takes a village.
Yeah, that's right.
Jim Farmer is absent today, so we're stepping in.
Yeah, he's getting over the flu. Any other announcements? Okay, hearing none, then I think we're ready for our program. Mr. Trent.
So good afternoon. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. So, you know, the mission of Worthington Schools is to empower a community of learners who will change the world. And so we want our students to be ready when they leave Worthington Schools to go off and to make a difference. And you see examples of that with our graduates often. And so our speaker today is a recent 2022 graduate from Thomas Worthington High School, who is meeting our mission and making a significant difference both in our community and what you'll hear and in the larger community. So Andrea Madolny is a freshman at the Ohio State University. Go Bucks. She's studying international relations and diplomacy and Italian studies. So that's fairly significant. She's very involved with the Buckeye-Thon, Mental Health Matters Club, and Salsa Dancing Club. And she's a longtime Colonial Hills resident who then again did graduate this last May from Thomas Worthington High School. So Andrea, and I believe what she'll speak about today, is a significant advocate for mental health awareness. And she received the highest award in Girl Scouting for creating a unique service project focused on suicide awareness and prevention. And there's been significant press around this, and I think she'll share some of her website today and her project called You Are Not Alone. So I invite to the microphone our speaker today, Ms. Andrea.
Perfect. It's got a laser pointer. And your notes are here. If you want to be able to reference them.
Oh, perfect. Thank you all for being here today. I'm so happy to speak. Thank you, Trent, for such a lovely introduction. So yeah, I will be talking about my project, You Are Not Alone, which is a suicide prevention and education project. I do want to be upfront about the nature of the topic I'm discussing today. Talking about suicide can be very overwhelming to a lot of people who have been affected by suicide in any manner. So please feel free to take a step outside if you ever feel overwhelmed throughout the presentation. So with that, I figured it out. I'm tech savvy. Okay, so who has heard of a Gold Award project before by a show of hands? Okay, that's more than I expected. So the Gold Award is the highest achievement within Girl Scouts of the USA, and only 5.4% of eligible Girl Scouts earn this award every year. So to put that in perspective, in 2021, the Eagle, 272 Boy Scouts earned their Eagle Award locally compared to the 13 Girl Scouts who earned their gold. So I think that's pretty significant difference, and the regional similarity between the two councils are pretty equal. As well, I do want to bring up the less name recognition between the two awards. If you ask someone, oh, hey, I'm an Eagle Scout Award winner, like that means something to someone. Whereas you say a gold award, you know, people, it takes a few minutes for people to be like, oh, I understand. So I think bringing awareness to the gold award is super important to lift girls up. So this statistic is really empowering to me. 703,000 people take their life around the world every year. For every suicide, there are estimated to be 20 other people who attempt suicide, and many more who have serious thoughts of suicide. And that's according to the World Health Organization. So I want to talk a little bit about my story and why I chose suicide for my project. When I was 14, I lost someone to suicide. He was just one of the 48,000 Americans who died by suicide in 2018. And not only did we lose a loved one, but families and friends are forever changed when a suicide occurs. So my project educated the community about the importance of mental health and how to talk about suicide. I raised awareness about the signs of suicide and to make people more vigilant about the symptoms of suicide in their loved ones. While I'm still grieving, I've learned how to live with my loss through talking to others in therapy. And by sharing my story, I hope that other people who have been affected by suicide know that they are not alone. So here's the first part of my project. I developed a series of infographics to break the stigma surrounding suicide. Suicide does not discriminate. It affects every race, every gender, and all ages. And suicide is the 10th leading cause for death in America, according to the CDC. Yeah. Throughout my research, I found a lot of information that could be very overwhelming to someone trying to learn about suicide. This led me to create simple and straightforward infographics that could help readers really digest this information in a positive manner. Rather than just listing facts, I wanted to start a conversation about suicide to better appeal to the reader's emotions. This writing style is what really sets my infographics apart compared to other resources available on the internet. I also worked with a lovely graphic designer, shout out to my mom, to create professional resources and incorporate my words with simple and straightforward graphics. After designing these infographics, I sent them to the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation, Adam H. Board of Franklin County, and Nationwide Children's Hospital for professional review. I had to revise it, and revise it, and revise it. And surprisingly, that was the easiest part of my project. I compiled a list of state and national mental health organizations, state public health agencies, and other organizations to distribute my infographics. While I received many flat out no's and even more no responses, I still connected with many organizations to share my resources with the public. So here's a graphic of some of the 11 partners that I partnered with throughout my projects. They span 3 states, Alabama, Ohio, and Florida, and range from local, like Worthington schools, to national organizations. While doing my project, I connected with the Ohio State Suicide Prevention Program about providing my suicide infographics to students and their faculty. While there were logistical issues with adding my infographics to their website, Dr. Darcy Hagranello, the director of the Suicide Prevention Program, featured my infographics in her keynote speech at the International Congress on Psychiatry Conference in Guilin, China in June of 2021. Her speech showcased my infographics to hundreds of academic scholars and from around the world. And at this conference, I hope that my infographics sparked hope for other suicide prevention programming for our youth. I was also invited to be a webinar panelist by the Girl Scouts of the United States of America. I got to be a spokesman person for mental health, which is a dream come true for someone like me. So at this global webinar with Girl Scouts of the USA, they partnered with Johnson & Johnson in October of 2021. This virtual event entitled Awesome Girls Tackling Global Public Health Challenges had attendees from around the world and the USA. Here's a screenshot from me presenting. The mental health panel featured myself and Dr. Ginger Smith-Swinski, a neuroscientist from Johnson & Johnson. Ginger is also a former Girl Scout. Shout out Girl Scouts, anyone in the room? We discussed why mental health is a global public health issue and the devastating effects of COVID-19 on mental health. After the event, Ginger asked to use my infographics in her mental health work in Africa. I also partnered with schools. So I reached out to the Ohio PTA to destigmatize mental health. I wrote an article during the pandemic called Mental Health from the Eyes of a Student, which was sent to 54,000 parents and teacher subscribers from all across Ohio. In April of 2021, I was a featured speaker at the Ohio PTA Town Hall, where I spoke on mental health and my project. Here are some photos from State of the Girl. I had the honor to represent Gold Award Girl Scouts at the annual State of the Girl, which is an event on National Women's Day that Girl Scouts of the Ohio's Heartland, our local council, puts on to empower women and to show the amazing things that Girl Scouts does. I spoke about my project to encourage other Girl Scouts to go for their Gold Award and to further the message of my project, You Are Not Alone. I had the honor of meeting Yvette Nikki Brown, who is the first African-American female justice on the Ohio Supreme Court. It was a dream come true. She's a genuinely nice person in real life. An honor meeting her. In addition, I spoke with Amy Franco, who's the president of Girl Scouts of Ohio's Heartland Board of Directors, and Tammy Wharton, the chief and executive officer of Girl Scouts of Ohio's Heartland. So a big part of my project was murals. I wanted to create something visual to bring attention to my project and my infographics that I spent so long making. So I decided to paint a mural to display in our community to spread my message, You Are Not Alone. This mural took me over 50 hours to complete. You can watch the entire 3 seasons of Dynasty if you make a mural. And you can see, I loved it. The first step was painting the background and the dark blue circle. And then I used one of those old school projectors to trace the lines so that they'd all be symmetrical. And then I started painting. So I did some of the trees, some of the windows, and then the lines up and down. And then that center You Are Not Alone graphic, that probably took me the most time. It's very detailed. And then you can see the finished project there on the right. The center statement is the heart of my project, as the message You Are Not Alone means that people struggling with suicidal feelings can see this mural and know that there's a whole community to support them and uplift them out of darkness. The mural art was designed to represent how people who are struggling with thoughts of suicide often feel alone, yet there are so many other people out there who are struggling with the same thoughts right here in our community. The dark windows you can see throughout the mural represent people who are having suicidal thoughts. The buildings mimic the architecture of many homes found in Worthington, and the mural color palette are the city of Worthington's official colors. I think I skipped one. Okay, well, we will go with that. The Worthington Community Center installed my first mural on March 29th of 2021, and visitors can scan a QR code right next to it to access the infographics that I created and learn about the project's significance. The building, the visitor count of the building, as well as the QR code have showed tremendous interaction with my mural throughout the last few years. After hearing about the community center mural, Worthington Libraries asked me to do a second mural for their old Worthington location. Instead of duplicating the first mural, I suggested an interactive design that would incorporate the handprints of our community. My goal with this design was to create youth interaction to educate children about mental health from a young age, because lowering the stigma of mental health starts with our children. I can picture myself as a kid being excited to go find my handprint every time I go to the library. And so I hope that over time, these kids can learn more and more about the significance of the mural's messaging. So I had 3 mural events in June and July of 2021. More than 300 community members came out to the libraries to put their handprints on the mural. That was so amazing. Many of my friends came out too, so it's a really amazing experience to bond with people throughout Worthington. Many people shared their personal connection to suicide with me, which was absolutely heart-touching. Mothers, veterans, siblings all shared their story while placing their handprints on the mural. It showed me that suicide has affected so many people in my own neighborhood, and that means that I'm not alone in my grieving process. In addition, at the mural event, I distributed nationwide children's hospital flyers for parents about the signs of suicide in children, and nationwide donated swag from their On Our Sleeves children's mental health initiative to get kids more interested in talking about their feelings. I think this initiative is so cool, and I had the honor of working with Nationwide on my infographics. So this campaign, I would encourage you all to learn more about it. It really talks about how children don't wear our feelings on our sleeves, so we have to talk about it. So just an amazing opportunity to work with them. So I am so grateful for the recognition that my Gold Award project has received. The most meaningful to me was being chosen as a finalist for Columbus Dispatch's Everyday Heroes. I was the youngest member of 19 semifinalists and finalists for the 2022 class of Everyday Heroes. This honor gave me a platform to spread my message to all of the Columbus Dispatch's subscribers. The Columbus Dispatch wrote an article detailing more about my project and resources for those struggling, in addition to producing a video. I was also featured on NBC4, who covered the award ceremony in a 30-minute segment last October. Being on the local newspaper and television station was a dream come true, and has always been on my bucket list, so I was so excited. Some of the other awards my project has earned, I was named the Ohio Suicide Prevention Advocate of the Year, City of Worthington Good Neighbor Award, Serve Ohio Award, and the AmeriCorps Gold Level President's Volunteer Service Award. So I'm very grateful for all the recognition. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my project is over, but what does that mean for me as an advocate, a survivor? So while it's over, I've continued speaking about my passion for mental health awareness throughout my everyday life. I spread awareness through my internship with the U.S. Department of State and the college campus with the Mental Health Matters Club. So I currently intern with the Virtual Student Foreign Service overseen by the U.S. Department of State. I work for the Regional English Language Office in the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, Pakistan. As an intern, I engage with thousands of Pakistani students and teachers through the Department of State's largest English language outreach program. As a cultural ambassador, I give students and teachers essential opportunities to speak with an American. I've used this platform to advocate about mental health, a topic that is stigmatized across the globe. I had the opportunity to create a two-way dialogue with Pakistani students about maintaining mental health on a Facebook Live event last month, where we discussed self-care techniques and shared resources for those in need. I'm a leader for mental health on the Ohio State campus, go Bucks, through advocating for students to care for their mental health with Mental Health Matters Lab. In the spring, I will be working on Are You Okay Day, which is an OSU signature event that brings light to mental health. Okay, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how Girl Scouts really changed my life. Girl Scouts has given me the opportunities to be a leader in my everyday life. I was a counselor at our local day camp for 4 years. I completed both the Gold Award awards, but also the Bronze and Silver, which are the lower levels throughout Girl Scouts. Throughout my whole project, I had the opportunity to network with lots of amazing professionals from all across the country, as well as learn soft skills and interpersonal relationships. Those are essential things that you can't do unless you get thrown into a situation that you're forced to learn. So I think Girl Scouts really cultivated those skills for me. And I also served for a year on the advisory board of Girl Scouts of Ohio's Heartland, where I got to give my feedback as a girl to the organization itself. So I thought that was so cool that I could give my input and help change the program for future girls to come. So my ask today is, if you ever have a Girl Scout reach out for mentorship on their Gold Award project, help them. The hardest part for my entire project was getting people to say yes. While it taught me to be persistent, the lack of name recognition of the Gold Award made it difficult to connect with mental health experts. We need to encourage more girls to take action on issues that are important to them and give back to their communities through earning the gold. The Gold Award is such a unique and individualized process that has many ups and downs. So your help with future girls seeking the gold is crucial. And if you have a young kid, I would strongly encourage you to introduce them to scouting. There's something for everyone in Scouts. Beyond your stereotypical camping, selling Girl Scout cookies, or making crafts, children have the opportunity to earn badges in their areas of interest, take leadership roles in their troop and in their organization like I did, and most importantly, learn the value of volunteering. Whether it's the Girl Scout Gold Award or the Eagle Scout Award, these service projects create lifelong skills and relationships that you can't get anywhere else. Lastly, I wanted to share some resources. If you or someone you know are contemplating suicide or expressing suicidal thoughts, know that you are not alone. Something that everyone should be aware of is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline just changed from a full phone number to 988 to help with crisis. So super easy to remember, like 911, just dial 988 and you can get connected to a 24-hour toll-free hotline for anyone in crisis or who needs resources to help someone they know. The Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation, Adam H. Board of Franklin County, Life Act, we're all three partners of my project and have really great resources on their website, as well as Life Act has a text crisis line, which can be very important to people who cannot talk about their feelings. It's 741-741. And then lastly, my website, You Are Not Alone. Go to andreasgold.weebly.com, gotta sponsor it. You can download my infographics there, as well as hear more about my project and my story. And I really encourage everyone in this room to recognize the signs of suicide in their loved ones, because you can save a life. So thank you so much for having me. That's my email and my LinkedIn. If anyone has any further questions, I would love to talk.
I'm curious if you intend to evolve your passion for this into a career in the mental health field.
Yeah, totally. So I am studying diplomacy and Italian at Ohio State, and I want to become a diplomat and work for the U.S. Department of State abroad, where I will definitely be using this passion to advocate about mental health and bring it up, because mental health is stigmatized across the globe. Everyone needs to learn about it. So yes, I will totally be advocating for mental health in that position and encouraging more legislation and resources to be used to help people in need.
I applaud what you've done. I can't even imagine when you have time to sleep.
I get that a lot. Yeah, I actually did the majority of this project during 2020, during the pandemic. So I was just, my parents graciously changed their entire living room. We put the couches together and draped a bunch of cloths so I could paint the murals, and it kept me busy during that time where a lot of people were struggling. And it gave me something to do. So I kind of laugh when people say that, because this project really gave me that push and like thing to do during such a time of uncertainty. So thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, your project has affected thousands and thousands of people. How did it affect your own personal development and growth?
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you so much. It was actually the mural events where I talked to people who had lost people to suicide, had attempted suicide themselves, and it changed my perspective on suicide. Just knowing, like my mural showed, like there's so many people struggling with these thoughts, and so many people affected by the people who take their own lives. And unfortunately, my friend who passed away, like that really affected me as a young teenager, and having such a space to talk about it and connect with people who understood what I was going through was life-changing to me. I really feel like I felt heard in that community, and it really allowed me to grow. I think it's important to say that you never get over loss to suicide. That grief, you learn to live with it, which I learned from an bereavement counselor who I interviewed in one of my infographics. She is actually a counselor at Kilbourne High School. So it's an amazing article, and I would love for you to read it on my website. So thank you.
On the beginning of your slides, you had one statistic that said, I think 700 and some thousand people commit suicide, and then later, I think when it was 2018,
Yeah,
only 48,000 a year.
that's in America.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second one was
48,000
worldwide.
Americans took their life in 2018.
Okay.
703,000 people took their life around the world. Yeah.
I was shocked if that was the same.
Oh, yeah, that would be such an amazing progress, but unfortunately,
I know it's grown, but
yeah, it's grown because of the pandemic, and a lot of people feel more alone and more isolated with the shift in work culture and community. So yeah, it's a really important thing to talk about, and make sure that you recognize that in your loved ones to prevent a suicide in your community. So, yeah.
I don't know much about suicide.
Yeah.
Are there any particular things that trigger that are at the top of the list of why a person would consider that?
Sure, yeah, a lot of different things. Everyone has their own reason, and it's really hard to understand why, but recognizing their symptoms like you're talking about are super important. I would say the number one for me are changes in behavior, whether that's sleep, eating habits, relationships, just anything that significantly changes the behavior of a person. I would reach out to them and talk with them about like whether this is part of the larger issue or if they're just going through like a little rough patch in their life. You can see a full list of signs of suicide on my infographics on my website, which I would encourage you to look into more. But yeah, any changes in behavior are a big flag for suicidal feelings and the development of suicidal thoughts.
Is it a community? Is it family? Is there any kind of way you can say, hey, this person is really going to fit in this community here?
Yeah, I would say like when you're close to someone, right? You have that kind of special relationship where you can really take that it might be hard to be like, hey, I recognize this in you. Let's talk about it. If you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody in your personal group, or like family or friends, I would say go to a counselor or talk to one of the mental health hotlines that are on this page. But yeah, as a community, as friends, neighbors, families, we all need to be vigilant for the signs of suicide in everyone we know. Yeah.
Andrew, before you give the mic up, would you introduce your parents, tell us a little bit about them? I failed to do that.
Over here, my two parents, that's Dave Nadolny. He works for the Franklin County Board of Developmentally Disabled. And my mom, who's a graphic designer, she's a girl boss. She has her own business, Mercury Design Studios, and she designs menus for Cameron Mitchell.
I was gonna, Andrew, you're such an articulate spokesperson for suicide prevention, and the Girl Scouts said the Girl Scouts think about having you go on a tour or something. You should be out there, reaching groups, to let people know about Girl Scouts and the potential for that, for their daughters and grandchildren and things like that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was actually invited to be a part of the Gold Award Review Committee of Girl Scouts in Ohio's Heartland, so giving input on future girls projects and helping diversify the board, because it's a lot of older volunteers that don't necessarily understand the nature of some of these newer projects. And that's the reality of it. My project was given a lot of criticism. They didn't know what infographics were. They didn't know, they suggested adding a Pokemon Go stop to a mural for engagement, which was very hurtful for my own journey because of the nature of my topic. So adding that perspective and being more sensitive about these projects, I think, is something that I will really strive to do. And of course, I will always continue volunteering with Girl Scouts. So yeah, thank you. There are no more questions.
Last one.
Oh,
We keep reading about the number of drugs that are coming into this country. And it's been going on a long time. But is the mental health issue, the suicide issue being increased because of it?
Sure. Drug use can be a symptom of feeling lost or feeling unmotivated in your life. And it can lead to making not good decisions on your mental health. Actually, Adam H. Board, it stands for Alcohol, Drugs, and Mental Health. So that is an organization that strives to address all three of those issues that you're talking about all in one, because they're so interconnected. So I think that is such a lovely connection and question that you had there. And that is a wonderful resource for anyone that you know struggling with drugs that could lead to a change in their mental health.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Yes.
Let's give her another round of applause. That was pretty powerful. All right. I think we're ready for the wrap.
We are $14 in the week.
$14.
Just need to give you some kind of. Appropriate number. Not lower appropriate.
That would be you for me.
Last four. 8717.
8717.
I got it.
Ken?
And
324.
And 8717.
8717. Wasn't that the number that was just called?
But I didn't pull it.
How's the number in there twice?
That, we put it back in.
Oh, my goodness. Can I get
Find yourselves. Baker.
oh, there's too many cards. I am.
4 spades?
Better than all concerned.
Okay. 12:58. I think we're ready for a 4-way test. If you will repeat with me, of the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is it
Is the truth,
second,
is fair to all concerned,
Will
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
and fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, everybody, for a great meeting of the new year. Please remember to turn your cell phones back on and remember to return your bags. We are adjourned.